All right, so welcome to another episode. Today we're going to take a look at AAL, or American Airlines. We're going to check out the stock, see how well it's doing, and give you some thoughts and takes. But keep in mind, this is my own personal opinion. It's not a recommendation to buy, sell, or trade anything. And if you want to do your own suggestions, definitely check out our Discord group, so that way you get notified as we release new videos. Or if you want to suggest a video or request a video, you can do that also on the Discord server, which you can see in the description below or on our website at tradersfly.com or criticalcharts.com. Okay, let's kick things off with American Airlines here. You can see over the last 5 years, the stock has been trending lower. 2018, we had some of these highs around the $60 price point, and then the stock just continued to kind of sell off. So we've had some serious issues. Now, recently, if you just check out what's going on in the news, we did have earnings released not too long ago. So as we check this out, there was the earnings right here, and this stock, we had, what was it, negative 1.514 estimate. Actual is negative 1.42. So it actually seems a little bit better, right? So as you look at the price action right now, it's actually doing well, but the market overall is doing well. So it might be pushing it a little bit higher throughout the day. Right now, as we look at it, it's just kind of, we had a drop initially and it's trying to grind back up. So should we buy, sell, or what should we do with this stock as we look forward? So I'm going to go ahead and look at some of the technicals. And as we check things out, let's look at kind of the quarterly right now. And as we look at the quarterlies, so each bar represents a quarter. This stock kind of came out, was at 2005 right here. So it's a new company, at least public company. Here's the $50 price level. So there we've got kind of resistance at this level. Now you can see you had a lot of issues there at the beginning, kind of a nice support over here, but we got into this resistance level in 2014, then around 2017, 2018, also another resistance level. So we hit those points a couple times, and that $50 seems to be a real trouble spot. In airlines, they're very tough markets from as far as the margins go. So as we look into that, that is a big issue. Now take a look at here recently, 2018, 2019, 2020. We've been kind of just trending in this downward pattern. Obviously, you had some issues in 2019 with the coronavirus stuff going on. And some of that support came in. And you can see that support also comes to tie into the 2010, 2011 levels. So as we go into that, and we start looking at, let's go more into the... let's say here, the monthly time frame. You can see that support right around that $10 range. This stock definitely was holding up very well at the $10 range, because that's kind of making it like a very cheap, near speculative investment at that point. And I can see why, but it's definitely oversold at this level. So now we're probably getting into more fair value, but you can see the trend is still kind of on this downward slope. If you start seeing kind of this turnaround and you start seeing creation of higher highs rather than lower highs, then that stock could be turning around. But for the time being, we're still kind of trending downward from the longer term perspective. So again, from the longer term perspective, we're still kind of struggling in this downward pattern. You can see this is 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. We're still heading downward. Now, once this kind of trend breaks, that downward slope then is kind of done and over with, right? So if we break through, bounce, and kind of go that way, then we should start a new trajectory or a new pattern. But remember, right around that $60 level, $50, $60 level, you got some trouble. So that is a trouble area. So I don't know how far the stock can go. I mean, it's not a huge technology stock. It's maybe more of one of those you're buying on values or dips to see, and when it's overvalued, something like this for a possible pop. And that's what happened here. If we look kind of more on the week-to-week basis, okay, we know and understand this trend is still to the downside, okay? And you can see a few levels of kind of support right here and resistance. So you can see we kind of tried to break through. Stock tried to break through here, and it's trying to hold a little bit of support there. So ultimately, still there's that $10 level, but the stock is still trending lower in general. Now, the good news here is the volume on the sell side isn't picking up as nasty as it was over here. So there's a lot of selling pressure earlier in 2020. 2021, not as nasty. You could see there was some value buyers that stepped in. Right now, I think it's just digesting. There's not a lot of people that are stepping up to the plate there. So as we go into more of the daily price action, our main issue of resistance is right around that $22 price point. That's kind of a huge area. You also have some areas and problems right here, which you can see is right around $19, $20. Okay, so that's another spot. Some of the shorter term support is right about that 1640. That's kind of what you're looking for as well on a shorter term support. So if you're trying to play this as a range on the daily, I would watch around the 1640. I'd also watch this 19.5, $20 price point, because you've got a little gap right here that happened. It got filled, obviously, but this is kind of the sideways range that we're getting into right now. So even though we had earnings the last couple months, we're really trending in the kind of a sideways pattern between a 19 and a 16. And if you're kind of looking for a stock that's a little more stable, just kind of wobbling around, this is that stock. So from the longer term perspective, let's break it down. You're kind of trending lower. Okay, so the trend is lower. Okay, from the shorter term perspective, kind of on this multiple month time frame, shorter term, you're kind of sideways. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for in this stock. So if you're playing the ranges, of course you could buy on dips, depending on if you want to do shorter term trade. Buy on dips around that 16.5 or so, and you sell kind of on 20 or 22 is another level. If it breaks beyond that, beyond the 19, it can get to 22. Other than that, you've got this box that you're kind of trading in the last few months, and it'll probably stay there for a little while until we can get out of that box or a range. So that's kind of what I'm looking at from the stock, is just acting weak. There's not a lot of substance behind it right now. It's not like it's too oversold, like, back here. You're looking at maybe possible overdone conditions, but right now you might be like more at a fair value level. And if you look at kind of just the overall trend, just on the moving from 2009, actually it's kind of moving around that way, and it's doing okay from the longer term perspective, right? But we also know that if we really look at the bigger picture here, we're kind of trending downward here. Okay, this trend is moving upward. Okay, so now the question is, are we going to compress in this triangle pattern and break out, or are we going to and this stock's going to fail? And then if it fails, it might get acquired. So who knows how that'll play out. But anyways, the airlines are always consolidating. So here's kind of what's happening is we're really compressing in this area, and we'll see how things play out. So anyways, thanks for joining me. Hope you found this video helpful. Again, longer term, it's kind of trending lower, but you do have some of that support on the upper side. It's just moving at a really slow pace. If you're looking at the shorter term, it's just really moving sideways. So have a great week ahead, and I will see you on the next update.